you're so positive, Mr. Owens.
we have to be. We have to be helpers one to
Hmm.
another.
Hmm.
Things
Hmm.
happen.
Is
Just remain optimistic and just keep moving
is
forward.
that how you basically stay relevant? I mean, you know, what I just went through with you was so it's like we've known each other. It's like we've known each other for 3 days. And how you were able to stay so calm. And
Oh yeah, once you meet me, I take you in. We're
yeah.
family, and we try to work out solutions together. Things happen. That's what when you look back on house music from them early warehouse days of glory, with the music box, Studio 54. It was all to Paradise Garage. It was about a family unit, and we worked things out together. We came together, as an extended family beyond our
Hmm.
normal families. You could come to those places and you found more love than you found often in your
Hmm.
natural family
Hmm.
environment. And it's like, keeping the torch lit for, with that kind of emphasis about creativity, about connections between your tribal
Hmm.
family and in general in
Hmm.
life, to be more helpful and more understanding, things happen.
Thank you so much. Well,
It's how you deal with the
with that said, everybody, I really want to make sure I start this from the top again, welcoming one of my heroes, Mr. Robert Owens. He's known for so many great hits in the club scene that it's totally inspired me. I hope this doesn't ruin my chances on doing remixes for his next song. Where are you?
Thank you so much, family.
And he's known for songs like Tears, I'll Be Your Friend, Ordinary People, Fingers Inc. with Larry Heard. I don't know how many of you out there have never heard of those, but as we get through this interview today, I want you to tap into what his words of life, experience, his his legacy of how he has been so relevant for so many different decades. His journey through Chicago, Los Angeles, London, shit, almost every place. Now, now he's in Berlin, uh, and I'm not gonna. We decided not to discuss numbers about age. So with that said, you can only imagine how much experience that goes with these decades. And the one thing that stuck to my mind, Robert, was when there's a saying that you believe that God has a plan to continue you through, I mean, to guide you through the work. What does that mean to you?
Mhm. Oh, well, I believe in higher forces. Different people call it different things. Some people call it God. Some people call it Allah. Every nationality has their own belief. But I believe in a higher source, a higher force, something above me that's constantly radiating knowledge to me to pass through. So a lot of what I give has been passed on to me through a higher source. And often, and if you quiet your mind and you listen, there's constantly, even if some could consider it an angelic force. Something is there, always whispering, direction and words of wisdom to you. And I think I've been fortunate enough that I know how to quiet my mind and quiet the noise around me and listen to that instinctive voice or that instinctive energy above me that's guiding and protecting me. And so often, lyrical content that I've written, the way that I perform, all of that is a reaction of a higher source guiding me, That's part of it, but also part of it is the public. I've often told people, you're my lifeline. I do this for you. It's not just about me. It's an extension. Once I see people happy, that I've brought them some type of happiness through what I give, musically. That's a instant reaction on my happiness as well. We're in this together.
I mean, it to have I get teased a lot about having this kind of so, earthly positive way to kind of make it. Do you ever feel like people take your kindness for a weakness when you're in this position?
Oh, often, it's good and bad people in the
Mm,
world, and you have to be able to distinguish between, the difference. You can usually generally listen to someone's conversation for, often just a few 5 or 10 minutes and know where they're at and where they're coming from. But first of all, you got to, there's the saying of know thyself. You have to know yourself. You have to know what you are offering and giving back to life, and anything outside of those
mhm,
realms, you have to steer
mhm,
away from that. And so I know what I want to give back to life, and I know when someone is deflecting from that kind of energy. And it's just envious and jealous people. There's good people, so you just have to be able to distinguish between the two. But the first instinct is to know yourself and know what you want to give back to life and to humanity. And once you understand that, you just instantly steer away from anything that doesn't bring you that same kind of level of vibrational
mhm,
energy.
mhm.
And then you have to also understand people on you have to understand the system of vibrational energies. You can talk to someone and then understand where
Yeah,
they're at, and if they're not on the same vibrational level that
yeah,
you're on, you don't judge them. You just steer away from
mhm,
them, and say, okay, we're on different levels. I'm not going to even address you not understanding where or comprehending what I'm trying to give
okay.
to you, or the energy that I'm trying to conversate with you from. You just say, okay, I know where they're at, and I'm going to keep stepping, and move on
But
above.
they're probably okay. Are there more people on the positive end of that than the negative end with your experience?
Well, I'm a really introverted
Okay,
kind of person, so a lot of people don't get a chance to actually come around me no more and talk to me because I'm really sensitive to energies and people. So I instantly, if I feel something dodgy or negative, I
okay,
step away. And just to stay in tune with understanding myself and what I want to give back to
yeah,
humanity, I isolate myself a lot. So this is where I'm more of an introverted person. So often people don't get a chance to interact with me unless I'm performing. On performances, often I'll go before my performance or I'll
mhm,
stay after the performance and I
okay,
talk to
bet,
people because I want to understand where they're
mhm,
coming from. So I think it's important for not me to just show up and okay, I'm performing, and no, it's about, again, it's reverting back to, it's about people. So I have to understand your emotions and feelings, and the best way to do that is to
communicate,
talk to you and talk to different
mhm,
individuals. And communicate with people. But it's only like short spans of that, and then I'm back into my world to create and think about the next phase of what I
mhm,
want
mhm,
to give
mhm,
back to life and to
mhm.
people.
With these songs keep going through my head, and I have to start off by asking you, um, Tears, I'll Be Your Friend, Ordinary People, these are latest global killer. I mean, for over decades. Where were you in life, and what were you feeling when you wrote these tunes? You know what I mean? It's like how do they reflect different chapters of your journey? What was your message with? Let's start off with Tears. How what were
Well,
you
often,
feeling?
but tears of, well, all songs are a moment in time, some a scenario situation between people that were in my that time, or maybe even just being out at a party. Again, after I might have been at an after party and just sat
Mhm.
down and talked to a group of people. They may have discussed where they were at in life and stuff,
Yeah.
something, or and that sparked a thought to write down. I could tell you loads of stories about different songs, but Tears in particular, you asked me about that one. It was a case of Frankie Knuckles. With Satoshi Tommy actually had wrote the original song in Japan, and he was a fan of Fingers Inc., the group Fingers Inc., and he wanted to meet me. Frankie knew me, but I hadn't seen Frankie for a while. He had moved back to New York at the time, and people put out a feeler. The people was like, "Oh, Frankie's looking for you. He wants you to hear this song. He's interested in you writing the song." So he was coming over to play at the Metropole, and so he got in touch and asked me to come out. He wanted me to hear the song. So I came out and he played the song and I listened to it and I was like, okay, this is a nice song. And so I'll go back and think about some words when I'm back at home. So I went back home and I just had the melody in my head and I just instantly wrote the thought that evoked the feeling of what would it be like, tears, the thought of tears if you were overwhelmed by emotion of loving someone and the love wasn't reciprocated back. And so I just went on the premise of what feeling would that evoke from a heartfelt viewpoint. And I wrote down those lyrics, and then I was actually with my staying at my mother's and father's house at that particular time, and then I let them see the words that I wrote, and they was like, "Oh, that's interesting." And so I called him and I recited the words over the phone, and he was like, "Oh, that's cool. It's like we flying you in." So I think 2 days later, they flew me to New York to record, just from me reciting the words over the phone. And um, I went in the studio and laid the demo, and then actually he wanted this female singer to actually sing the song, and just wanted me to write it. Her name was Jennifer Lewis, and she I think it's Stephen. I can't remember his name, but he ran the Red Zone Club or something where David Morales was playing or something at
Mm.
that time. Well, I think
Mm.
he was affiliated with a few different clubs there in New York. But anyway, he it was his girlfriend, and she was more of a fashion model, and they wanted her to sing it, so they had me come into the studio. I think it was, and they wanted me to kind of coach her through it. But I think, but in short, they wanted her to sing the song. But the record label heard my version, and it was like, well, no, we want him. So I think to compromise, they just had her at the beginning because she was really nervous. I think maybe it was just me being in there, and because I'm really relaxed, and for me, either something works or it doesn't work. So demo wise, I can just go in and I just lay my first thought, and then I think I went back and just changed a couple lines, but overall, what you heard is all in melodies, the dripping and dropping, all of that. I made up all of that thing, all of that, because I'm
On the
instant with
fly?
thought. And they went back off instant when often when I've worked with companies, they can have me sing something over and over, and then they end up going right back to my initial thought. And this is also falls into the whole um link that if something is not broke, don't try to fix it.
Don't try to
And
fix
too
it.
many
Yeah.
times, you
Mhm.
work with these different producers that's trying to
Yeah.
fix you, and you can't fix someone. You do your part and let me do my part to the best of our abilities. And that's often that's also something that's missing in this industry, where you work with individuals and they're trying to fix you and they're trying to make you into something. No, let me be who I am. I'm
Mm.
unique in my own right. Each
Right.
of us are. Don't try to fix us. Respect us for who we are and what we give to this industry.
How about
But yeah, that's the kind of condensed version of the story there. But
uh and
yeah, in short,
uh,
they flew me in. I did my part, and grateful that people loved what was achieved from that. And it's been a beautiful part of the repertoire to date. Often people still ask me to sing that song.
uh and what about "I'll Be Your Friend"? Is that? Is that a
And another case of, again, I went in and did my part. Well, it was actually a makeup song. Because
a,
I
ma-
was often I could be upset with that company, Def Mix, for really shallow things. We won't even go into that.
okay.
Loved them and loved what was achieved. With me being with that company, but it was more or less, a situation is where I said, despite all, I'll be your friend. And I went over to David Morales' house, and he hooked the microphone up in the bathroom, and I went in there and I just laid the one take, and I forgot about the song. But it was like one of those, where we might have had a little dispute between each other about something, as often as had happened. But I was like, okay, let's make up. And he played this little melody, and I think it didn't have the horns or none of that on it. It was just some kind of basic little drum loop and a string or something over it. And then later, Satoshi Tommy and whoever else came in to add their section of music and stuff. But I forgot about it, and I think I had just came from Japan from a few dates doing a little tour there, and I was in the club. I think we was in the Sound Factory, and Frankie Knuckles had took over from Junior Vasquez for a bit there, and the song came on about 3 4 times. The fourth time, I'm every time it came on, I was with my friends. We jump up, oh, there go that song, and we rush to the floor to dance. And then somebody said, "Fool, ain't that you singing?" And I was like, "Oh, I forgot all about it." And it's like, but this had been like a year, and then I think the song slipped out on cassette or on tape, and the radio station started playing it, and they panicked, and that's
Oh
why
boy.
they rushed to put it out on a record label. But it was something that just sat on the shelf, and often I've been around these companies that they gained a little success commercially. A lot
Mm-hmm.
of producers, artists, producers, however you want to call it.
Mm-hmm.
And then, I think the ego set in, and they became too harsh about their energy, the energy that they gave to me personally. I think that, this is a big problem when people get too full of themselves, and, the ego sets in, and, you lose the humbleness and the kindness.
Mm-hmm.
It's important for you to keep that no matter what you achieve, you treat people with a level of respect and a humbleness and a kindness, and you receive better results from that individual. And you have to look at people from a long-term viewpoint. You don't hurt anyone that you want to be in your life for a
Mm-hmm.
long time
Yep.
span or period.
Uh-huh. Hmm.
Mm.
Preach.
And so hopefully I answered some of that. Just
No,
sometimes
no, you did. I
forgive me, I might go all around the ringer, but I'm trying to condense these things and be kind. Like I said, you got to be kind. I ain't trying to throw nobody under the bus
no,
here
I
or
mean,
nothing.
for me, not even knowing where this inspiration came from, but it clearly it sounds like it's coming from a place of love. You know what I mean? Clearly, I mean, you have people, uh, minds, and you can see people floating away when they're, you know, and when you really have a friend, when or you really need a friend, the
Mm,
song is also quite friendly like that,
mm.
right? And I thought, yeah,
Yeah, and I thought it broke down, from different
okay,
cultures. What was a simplified thought that I could say? I'll be your friend. I thought that could be easily translated in any language, especially a lot of us mobile DJs, we travel all around the world. I've been based here in Europe for many years, England like 27 years, and now here in Berlin for maybe about 16 or more years. And so I've spent a lot of my life over in Europe, even in the early stages of when we first started Fingers Inc. And a lot of us, even Frankie Knuckles and Marshall Jefferson, we did one of the first early tours there in London, and then went all across England. That was back in the early
hmm
80s and stuff. And so and from there I started coming over solo, doing solo things. And then once they found I was in England, I was going from France, Germany, Italy, Switzerland, all over the place, you know. So I've always thought about some simplistic thoughts that was easily translated, that people to be communicative with people, you know, and always thinking about things from a global
Right.
response to give back to the, you know, the
Would you
system.
also say that simplicity also is very effective when it comes to remembering a song? Remembering
Yes, yes, definitely, definitely, yeah. Because especially you think on the dance floor, people have short attention spans. You know, they don't often want nothing too difficult. They memorize almost the hooks first, and then they learn the lyrics later.
yeah.
In some scenarios.
Yeah. I mean, once they learn the hook and I guess it
Hmm.
can you can relate to something that people peaceful at some point in your life in certain difficult moments, right? Did you hear me?
You're going in and out.
Okay. How about now?
No,
Yeah.
say it one more time.
Okay. How about that? Better again? Hello. Yeah. How about now?
No.
Hello, hello. How about
Eh,
now?
Yeah, I
Okay,
hear
great.
some. Were you just
I was
doing a little
yeah,
melody?
yeah, I was
How about now?
trying to copy you. Now what I'm hearing when you sing sometime, it's almost like you're on a spiritual level. Before the hits, who were who were yeah, who were you in Chicago? Gospel choirs, block parties, I mean,
Oh, God.
first sparks in house.
But basement parties. I used to clean out basements and actually do parties with one light and a turntable before the whole mix scenario came in. So I come up in that. I've done pubs. I've been college in the dormitory. We did parties there. I had house parties where I come up north side of Chicago where we was house hopping. We might be at Robert Williams' house. Then we had Frankie Knuckles' house. Then we had Ron Hardy's house, Kay Alexi's house. We was did house hopping, you know, as a family. Everybody that lived up there, we all knew each other, you know, and everybody come out of that whole basement party thing where we did parties in the basements and stuff, or in the apartments, you know. So I think it's been an integral part of our lives growing up in the '80s and stuff, you know, for a lot of us that are there doing it, you know, and it has history on it, you know, from that angle. But even I come in before the whole house thing. I come out of the disco era of things. You know, I was up north at Flamingos, Coconuts, DN1. I even rented that out before it closed and hired Ron Hardy to come back there to play. You know, as a sentiment to him for how much he's meant to me. You know, coming up. You know, so I knew that he was there before he was at the Catch One in Los Angeles, and I lived right around my family. But my mother lived right up the street from the Catch One, you know. So I've been there, but again, from the disco era before all of this house thing came in. And I lost
No,
you
no, no,
voice
no, no, no,
wise.
no, no. I'm here.
Are we back there?
I'm here. I'm here.
Oh,
I'm
okay,
just
I hear you
listening
now.
to you tell the story because
uh
I didn't want to interrupt that story. I respect the fact that I can hear in your history and your experience gospel. Can you tell us a little bit about any gospel influences that you have?
well, I used to sing with the Voices of Cornerstones with James Cleveland for a while. I was there in the Southern Community Choir for a minute. I did a little stunt there off of a couple things with them through James Cleveland
Mhm.
and them. But even in Chicago, I can't remember the church. And even in Ohio, my mother's always been, you know, heavy in the church background. So whenever I would visit them, it was instantly every Sunday to church, you know. So I think that has a big influence over the styling of the that I've created,
I
you
thought
know,
so.
for myself and the way I give back vocally, you know, and what I've got out of the whole church environment is that often the vocalists, they live that, the way that they perform and they present themselves vocally, they've lived that. They did, it's not just you singing, and they live for the wish and hopes of someone to send down some kind of answer
Mm,
to them.
mhm, mhm.
Also I get that out of I well, I'm just assuming, but for me personally, that's what it was. I was always I'm sending up a energy that I come to talk to me, whoever up there, somebody up there, talk to me. So my reaction to singing is that, come on through now. I
Yeah,
need to feel
can't stop
you.
it.
I need to hear you and feel it all in my soul. So it's like, you trying to tell you, who is it? Is you there? Who there? Come on down, talk to me, deliver me from this madness that I see in this world today. It's just all about that. So you live in that. You going through hard times. You seeing your family go through hard time, culture. Black people at not a vacation. You let it. You really sing. You give a hope and a wish somebody come down and change this. And I'm looking at had the opportunity. I wouldn't allow a lot of these atrocities and stuff that's going on in these third world countries, and people killing folks and all of that. Out at everybody that's got the control blowing up something and doing all of this nonsense. I'd have wiped them all out the way in the first place, and they'd be off on some island by themselves, and it'd
Wow.
only be people that's doing the right thing
Yeah,
and
isolate them. Yeah.
trying to help their fellow man. So it's doubts, and that's where you get this strong emotional singing from, because you trying to believe, but you also worried and you fearful and you doubting, even if they don't confess it. And it's people that's got to be doubting. You can't believe that somebody that's supposed to be almighty and all caring is allowing all of this nonsense to keep going on.
Right. Right. Right.
So
Heavy.
the easiest way for you to interject your thought without, you looking crazy or out of place, is to convey your emotion through the way you perform.
Hmm.
This is just a viewpoint on it. And the way I've thought, I'm singing, trying to deliver myself and hope somebody hear me shouting. Hear me laying down that emotion the way I'm conveying this. I'm not just doing this, for a show here. I'm doing this out of concern for humanity.
Oh God. You know,
That's one way
that
to look at it.
to extend that, would you say that
Mhm.
church singing taught you about deliverance, a vocal that studio never could?
I'd say church, being around the church and learning about yourself. Again, it's know yourself and what you're trying to give back to the system in life. I know that I love seeing people happy, and I know what it feels to be 100% happy. A lot of people don't know what that feels like. And often you got to, eliminate and get rid of the noise to understand you. If you're that kind of individual and you care about life and humanity, you naturally instinctively want to see others happy, and anybody that you call in your family, you want them to be happy as well. So it's very important that you're doing that and giving that back to life.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty cool, and I mean uh, that seems like that can be um, a signature influence from you from the church. So I really respect that. Let's move on a little bit and talk about.
And two,
Mo-
vocally.
huh? Sorry.
Okay, and one last thing. Vocally, often people told me that I couldn't sing, and in the family environment, and you're never gonna be done, blah blah blah. And then it was like, okay, again, isolate myself and coming up with different inflections that represented me is how I created my unique take on a style. And often, when I used to work in a pub like 5 or 6 nights a week. And I put my voice onto cassette and play it over some of the tracks and ask people what you think of them. They was like, yeah, he got something going on there. And so it's like you got to trust yourself and never let others deflect you away from what you want to give. and your character. I tell people you are unique in your own right. Nobody can give what you can give, and never let nobody steer you away from that belief.
Mm. I, how do you
Yeah.
how do you develop that defense
By
mechanism?
killing the noise.
Okay.
Killing the noise around you again, and understanding yourself, and let no one deter you from away from understanding who you are and what you want to give back to life.
Hmm. Hmm. I
Mm.
have had a wonderful conversation with K. Alexi Shelby. K. Alexi
Yes, my
Shelby.
brother. I love him to bits. Yeah.
He just sent me a message asking me for the link. He'll be joining us
Mm.
soon. I
Yeah,
had a
wonderful.
really wonderful talk and blessed that he um, got us connected. Um, and
Yeah, that's
we talked.
beautiful. I'm grateful too.
We spoke about some moments that only you and him can recite.
Mm.
Um, why don't you tell
Yeah.
us? Why don't you tell us memories before London, Chicago stories, like places like how iconic is this? Ronnie's Steakhouse with K. Alexi. Do you remember this
Um,
time?
I can't remember the story, but I remember us being at Ronnie's Steakhouse. He
Right.
could tell you the story better than me. He reminds me of things. That's the beautiful thing about Kay. We'd be together, and he'll remind me often of things, and it's like he'll tell the story, and then it clicks, and it's like, oh, I forgot about that. Often I forget, but yeah, he's one that he
He's in
can
the
take you back on some stories. We've
he's in the
had
chat
plenty
now.
beautiful stories together.
I want
Huh?
maybe I can refresh your memory because it was so heartwarming from what he told me and how
Uh,
close you two really are.
yeah,
Um,
we grew up in this whole system together. I said on the north side, we would house hop. I used to go over Kay's house a lot and see him there always channeling away working. He's like a super brain, that constantly is making, at the drop of a dime, he's making a track, so
and
big, big respect to him,
tell me
just
this.
for,
I'm gonna
mm,
give you a little hint. He told me that you invited him to come to the steakhouse. He didn't know what was on his mind, what you were going to tell him. You had something to tell him, and what you had to tell him broke his heart, but it was something you had to do that you were moving on. Do you remember that? What you told him?
uh,
That you were
no.
moving to London. He said you had told him that you were moving to
Uh,
London, and
yeah.
there at the steakhouse. And also, he wanted me to remind you. Do you remember Mama Boom Boom Paint, Mama Boom Boom House, or something like this?
Well, I remember the Mama Boom Boom scenarios. But yeah, we'll leave that alone. I ain't going just like let people rest well. We want family to rest well, So we ain't. I said we ain't gonna throw nobody under the bus here, but we got loads of stories down that range that we could talk about, huh? I could
Shout
tell you
out.
all kind of things that would make people laugh, but we gonna keep it clean here. We're not gonna. We said we're not throwing nobody under the bus.
Well, he did. It wasn't his story to me.
No, it could be a cut. It was a cut sometimes,
It,
but
it,
it was people cut each other back and forth then,
mm,
so
mm,
it wouldn't
mm.
be just like me cutting, but let's leave it there. That's
He's laughing
another
now.
big problem with
He's laughing in the
Chicago. A
chat
lot
now.
of people was cutting. So,
He's laughing.
people there, they cut and you had to cut back. It's like, and sometimes I had a cut that just stayed later. So
I know,
we gonna be kind.
but this was you
Let's
took it
just
from
say you knew you in those periods you had to know how to read and you had to be quick on the mark because some people would cut you and throw you off balance there. So
what
you
he
had to be prepared.
what I heard from him was that he was heartbroken because you were leaving, going to London, and you guys,
Yeah,
it's
a few friends were, but
yeah,
I was like, I'm not that far away, and the thing is, the beautiful thing about Kay, he's out of any of the house people, he's the only one that's really stayed totally in touch with me and been the closest to me out of
that's what
any
he
of them,
said.
and it's big respect to him, always, and when you say family, he's really the emphasis of somebody that's family. He's always sent something to me, a movie or anything that lift me up. Just
Mm,
almost like instinctively, without me knowing, is if he can sense or feel that I might have been down or something.
mm,
And that's real
mhm,
love. And that's often what you don't get in this industry. And it's not about what somebody can get from you or nothing. Or what you can do from them. So he's definitely a beautiful, a diamond in the rough, they would say, huh?
mhm.
Rare, very rarity in this industry.
Can you give us a small detail about those nights, a voice, a smell, a moment that still lives with you in from Chicago?
Well, when they did that song, I Can't Turn Around. The rough version was like something about I could smell you or something. The track. Kay probably got that version. If he probably, I don't have it no more, but that was one of them. As a
Is
matter of fact, if you have that version, Kay, you can send it over to us. I
all
can't
right, Kay,
turn
you hear
the
that in the
early one
chat?
with Steve Hurley and them. It was a demo version that they played. Brian Hardy used to play all the time. That was a funny one. Talk about they could smell somebody. They often something about they been in the club too long or but yeah, and
I,
the speaker catching on fire in the music box. I think if any stories, the music box has some great stories. Where
okay.
Ron was beating the music so bad that the speaker caught on fire. And one time he got sick, and they asked, I'm back in the back of the club, wasted, and they talking about you got to come play. Ron Hardy, is he sick or something? And I'm like, what you talking about? It's like,
Oh,
I
hey,
can't play.
hey, Robert,
So I
K
get up there and
Alexi,
I'm just putting on records and
K Alexi said it
uh,
was K Alexi said it was Steve Hurley, college version, the
yeah,
one you talking about. Yeah, he's writing in the
that
chat. He said
version
yes.
that used to have everybody around.
That's
Okay,
that.
so you remember that? Okay, that's a
Yeah,
big memory for us all when that came out.
I'm reading from the chat on the YouTube page. Yeah, he says it's yeah, that was Steve Hurley, the college version, that the one you talking about
Uh,
that that's set the speaker on fire. You
uh,
don't remember, Steve?
oh
You don't remember
God,
that
it
one?
was so many.
That's good. That's good. We got
Huh?
good friends. That's good. We got friends reminders over there, right?
I think yeah, out of any of the club, the music box gave us some stories that when we think back, it was things that happened in there that you like. They probably stay in our minds of things that happen, and just
Uh-huh.
innovative wise, how Ron Hardy opened our minds to a lot of things, musically, because you think even them and Farley and them getting inspired with that song was from the Isaac Hayes I Can't Turn Around track. And it was Ron Hardy that made that famous, editing that and playing it. So Ron, was a big inspiration to all of us, for what he gave and his presence just as a human being, when you seen him perform. And such ease and calmness in his face, and then but this fiery phoenix burst of energy of what he
Hmm.
gave musically,
Hmm.
and so I think we all look back on that, and see, and then Frankie had his scene over there, so it was the two different sections of scenes, and Frankie was inspirational for what he gave as well.
And How did
and
that?
Larry Levan in New York, So I feel grateful. I got a chance to be around all of them, And in New York, I was there doing the Danceteria and all of that stuff, and got a chance to perform at Studio 54 before it closed. Me and Salt and Pepper were the acts, and Larry Levan was DJing, So I Latin Quarters. Louis Vega, I think, was one of the first people to bring me to New York. Me and Lolita Holloway was the acts for the evening, and spending time with her, and just having conversations with her. I can go down that route of different artists and stuff that I met and stuff, that inspired me, and a lot of them from that disco era, and doing shows with Grace Jones. Me and her brother Chris was close friends. Meeting Miles Davis and Sylvester's PA for evening, laying out his clothes. I can say I actually dressed Sylvester.
Right. Right. Oh,
These are all
really? Oh,
parts of my
cool.
history. He asked
Oh,
me to pick
wow.
out the outfit for him to wear.
Uh-huh.
At a show that we put on for him. One of my first fashion shows was in the warehouse, with Tony Mitchell's School of Modeling.
Mhm.
Lolita was performing, and we were the entertainment for that um performance for that evening. So I could tell you story upon story, that are like, I'm grateful that I'm still here, and that a lot of the energy that those people gave me, it lives on inside of me. And that these opportunities like you're giving me right now, and bless you, my friend, too. I'm grateful for this, to be here to
Oh, great.
just share some thoughts of the past, because this also reactivates memories in my mind, and gives me encouragement for the future, and pushing forward, for things that, I'm trying to develop and to bring to the play to, for the coming future.
Which is where we're headed with this conversation. I wanted to touch a little bit on the history, and I'm sure there are a lot of things that people do or know about you over the years. Those are key signature points. What does it take to make a collaboration with such big inspirational people work? How does it yeah, how do you make
What
that
big or
truly work?
small, it what big or small, all it takes is respect. Respect of each other. If I respect you and you respect me, we're going to create something unique.
Mhm.
And so I think all of this, I'm at this level and you're at that level, is the mistake that often any artist would make.
Okay.
And where it's a clash in creativity. But if I respect you and you respect me, and you respect what I bring to the table and I respect what you bring to the table, we're going to receive a result. It's always a clash when people are trying to be too much, or give too much, or control too much of the situation. You have to respect what each other is bringing to the table.
Hmm. Is respect earned?
Often, yeah, respect is earned. You shouldn't trust nobody, because there's a lot of snakes in this business. And you have to test sometimes to see what some people, you can get an instant reaction from them, and okay, this is safe. Again, going back to even somebody like Miles Davis. If you look up Miles Davis's story and you see what kind of individual he could look at somebody and say, "Look, get out of my face, you full of shit." Just looking at you. When you should go and look, watch the movie on him. This man instantly sat down with me and wanted to know me and talk
Mm,
to me. And talked to me for over an
mm,
hour and a half. I'm mesmerized that I'm actually sitting here talking to Miles Davis. And then after that, I have a book to date that a fashion designer that I'm still in touch with and close to, is Koshin Sato, and he
wonderful.
did all of Miles Davis's clothes. He's did loads of clothes for me, and I've still got new things from him. But he instantly reacted to me, and I have a book where I'm in that book because of Miles Davis. And and so it's like
Do
this is where it reverts back to like some people meet you and you instantly say, okay, I can feel a trust energy with this. I can open up and talk to this person. And often I've met people like that, and we instantly start talking, and it feels like we've known each other for a long time. So once you throughout life, when you learn who you are. And again, it reverts back to know thyself. You know what you're bringing to the table, what you're giving back to life. Anything that feels off balance outside of that energy, you're going to instantly know it. And so I'm grateful and fortunate that I said I've become more of like a hermit, a recluse, kind of introverted person. But when I do get the opportunity to be around people, some people I just feel a calmness where I want to talk to them and open up to them, and that's a reaction of what these individuals I've been around gave me in dressing rooms with Lolita Holloway and her talking to me. Um,
Wow.
um, Jocelyn Brown, going over her
Jocelyn
home,
Brown,
knowing
baby.
her kids and stuff, talking to them and them, instant reaction of them reacting to the energies that we gave each other, it instantly felt like home,
Mm,
family, so you just know. And you learn to know
okay.
people, and again, you learn that reaction from a mile to look at somebody, and they can just look at you a certain way, and you be like, you full of shit. And you keep it stepping. So it's like I
You can smell
learned to
it?
just
Can you can
sense
smell it
and
a mile away, or
know. Yes, yes. So, okay, let's just keep it stepping. I ain't gonna even let you say hi. It's like your reaction made me instantly say bye bye.
choose.
That song with Fingers Inc. I'll say hi and then I'll say bye.
Ah,
So I'm at that point in life, I don't even give you a chance to say
hey
hi.
man, tell us one
It's like, nah, I ain't about no
tell us one
nonsense.
lesson, just one lesson a collaborator taught you that you still use every session. Is there?
A lesson. Um, I wouldn't say a lesson from these people because I think I've outgrown the past.
Mm,
That's the other thing. I
mm,
don't I don't hold on to spilled
mm,
milk. When milk is spilled and it's sat there for so long, it just dried up, nonsense. And you keep it moving over that. You can't even clean that
mm.
up. So it's like you just leave
Right.
certain things behind and keep it moving for your growth and your sanity. You just got to let some things go. And it's a lot of things in life I just let go and I keep it moving because it's so much more ahead and in the future. This, way, way more inspiring and goes beyond any nonsense
Mhm.
that that happened in the past. So you just sometimes you just got to let it go and keep it moving, and when you let it go, you open up the door to something much more inspirational and inspiring to enter
Mm.
your life.
Knowledge. And this is do you learn this over time by experience?
Yes,
Okay.
you do. Yeah, you do. A lot of pains, and and often sometimes ego within self stops you from releasing and letting go. Sometimes you don't want to face that, that the individual
Mhm,
situation didn't respond or react the way you hoped or wished that the outcome would have been
mhm,
achieved from that
mhm,
situation. So sometimes your ego almost don't want to let go. No, I can't
mm,
be wrong. But yeah, maybe you were wrong,
mm.
but let it go. It's like sometimes you're not gonna get closure. Sometimes you just gotta heal and let it go and grow and look for something better up ahead.
Hmm. Interesting. You lay the law down. I mean, that's that
Mm,
people run away from truth. I'm glad that you
mm,
um you left America a long time ago, and we spoke a little bit
mm,
about what that means to have cross the waters and get to your final destination now is Berlin. Um and
mm.
you are DJing still at a high level, and you still have followers. To do you feel like you're still part of your mission is to stay relevant and put all your
No, my mission is to be real, to just stay real, not even, and it's not about being relevant, it's just being real and evolving and giving back to humanity. All that I achieve and learn is about giving it back to humanity. No matter how well I live my life, whatever, how much money you
mm,
accumulate, none of that. that's not important. It's about right now, here today. What are you doing? What are you
Mhm.
giving back to life? Who are you helping within your environment to understand their
Right.
self? So they can, find a place in their heart where they're calm and happy, and at a point where they want to give back to life and give back to the people that around them that inspire them and keep them motivated and going. Because you can't take it with you, and when you go, it's just going to be somebody else here fighting over what was
Mhm.
yours. So learn to achieve it and give
Mhm.
it back, and make sure that you're giving it back within the right realms and environments of people that respect you and appreciate what you bring to the table.
Hmm. You started behind the decks. How has a DJ shape?
Um,
How's a DJ? Huh?
Well, I actually started as
Ah.
dancing and trying to put little bands and groups together. I used to be always around a neighborhood asking somebody, "Can you sing, man? Can you play the drums? Oh, let's make a group." So I always had some kind of form of a group or something going, and then the girlfriends would get in the way, and so they never took the
Uh, uh,
practice as
uh,
serious.
right.
And that's what kept me shifting around and trying to search and find the next person and the next person to see if I could keep forming some kind of collective, a singing group or something, even within the church, even with my younger brothers. I tried to put a group together with us. Even when I see them, the last time I did interact with them, they start singing some of the old songs we made up
Mhm.
and put together when I tried to put the
Mhm.
group together with them. So it's like I have a history of back about all of that madness before that even came in. And again, I said, before the turntable scenario, I had one turntable, put up a blue or red light in the basement, asked the owner, could I clean out his basement? I was doing handmade flyers and sticking them in people's mailboxes, and within a 3 or 4 block radius, most people knew each other. So, and back then we had block club parties and stuff where you isolate each end of the block from different angles, and the
Right.
whole neighborhood came out. So most people knew each other, so it wasn't strange to even put a flyer in somebody's mailbox. And then I look up on Saturday night, we got a line out there. I'm charging $5 to get in. So it's like I got a history of like just doing music. And I remember our aunt at 7 or 8 put me up on the table telling me to dance for her friends at parties and telling me that boy gonna be
One
something one
day.
day. I'm
Yeah.
telling y'all.
One
So I
day.
got, yeah, I remember I have a memory of entertaining and wanting to entertain people and seeing how people reacted from me entertaining them and seeing the happiness on their face. That's been an integral part of my journey and my initiative to want to give and keep searching of ways to get, seeing that happiness in others from me doing something entertainment wise to make them happy. An ongoing theme to present day,
Mhm.
going out and entertaining people and not fearing and giving yourself, because you know that you came in with the emphasis of wanting to entertain and give something back to, this community or this city, town, or place, wherever it might be, And so this is where I have no fear of traveling to, unknown territories and stuff, and I've been fortunate and blessed to be all over the world, and loads of different places from Africa to Israel. I've been Tel Aviv, Jerusalem, all kind of places, South Africa, Kenya, I've seen all kind of things,
Have
and it's grateful. And the ending result of like even you going into different environments and places, some people look at you, with this threat energy, especially different cultures. Or, well, who is he, what is he coming in? You like, oh shit, this gonna be a hard one. 10, 15 minutes into it, they's like, I've had people actually come up and say, you actually all right. It's like, okay, now I can entertain you. Now you said I'm all right. Okay, now let's get on with the party. Let's turn it out. I'm all right. Okay,
oh
let's
geez. Has
get back to that. Know
Mhm.
thyself.
Has DJing has uh, has DJing shaped your writing arrangement
Are you
and
going?
the way you carry yourself in the room? Meaning, when you're playing and you're mixing records, and then it's time to use your voice, the talent that you have, your vocal hit. How does that hit on the dance floor?
It's usually I get a really positive reaction, and a surprise. People don't surprise us. Ladies and gentlemen, how you doing? I might break it down. Ain't nothing but a house party. Ain't nothing
Mhm.
but a house party. I go into one, and they usually react to that. Because it's like you trying to pull the people in. It's like we in this together. I always try to come in with that angle. It's
Mhm.
not just about me. I'm here for you. I'm the
Mhm.
emphasis of the word entertainer. I came to entertain you. These people paid their money, so it's important. And I'm looking around the room and I'm trying to see, well, what can I throw on to hit this individual, that individual? It's so important that you make people feel special and feel that, you're there for them. And me jumping on the mic is a part of that, and that's always been a part of my whole performance, when I DJ and stuff. And then you have the other side of it where, I've had 11-piece band in London at one point. I've worked with all different band
11 piece.
collected 11-piece band. I had backing singers, horn section, drummer, and Patsy Kenzig's brother, Jamie Kenzig from London. He was in the band, and several other people. I can't remember everybody. And even one time, I put a whole choir together for this label, Freetown Records. The Freetown Records kind of gave me the reign. I had studio lockout where I was like falling asleep 16-hour sessions straight, where I'm writing the songs, singing. Sometimes I'm sitting there in front of the vocal booth, mouthing the parts to the singers to get them to do it a certain way. I did a whole album for Arnold Jarvis, never came out.
Oh boy,
Lots of
Arnold Jarvis.
it's
Oh,
a
really?
history of stuff there that yeah, it's a lot of stuff there that stuff's just kind of buried. Sometimes things pop up. Even I did an album for Japan that's almost a live-based album called The Journey, and I completely forgot about the album. And somebody sent me the album the other day to remind me, and I was like, "Oh wow, I forgot about this album." But if y'all get a chance, maybe go online and look up the Journey album. But I looked on there, and there's some really sentimental tracks there. That tell you a lot about that period and stuff back. This is during the time when I had the 11-piece band and stuff,
Mhm.
and I've worked with orchestras, 50-piece orchestra with Back to Basics. I did a few times. I did a whole tour with an orchestra with Pete Tong and stadiums all across England, all up to Scotland. I've done Sydney Opera House. I've done all kind of stuff that, that's there, in the back of my head to say, God, you have to always count your blessings and say that you've been blessed on this journey, that you've had the opportunity to reach out to people from so many different environments and levels, to always be really grateful and to constantly, when you encounter negative things with people trying to push you back, you have to fight for yourself and you have to fight for it just based on some of these thoughts that I'm telling you about, just places and people I've met. I feel like I'm a frontline soldier. That maybe some of these harsh things have been thrown at me to build up a resilience to fight, because life has gave me the opportunity to see so many beautiful things that often I might forget about. But then you run back into a brother like Kaya, something he reminds you of some of the stuff that you might have forgot about. And it's a few people there in my life, just like Kay, that like, often when I run into him or see them, it's just like yesterday. Nothing has changed, even if I don't speak to him for a year, when I do speak to him, it's going to be like yesterday. And that's also a rarity in this industry. People, you might not see them, but you have to think, you don't judge not seeing an individual. They might be going through something, everybody's going through something, everything ain't gravy and beautiful for everybody. So you never judge even the absence of people out of your life. You don't know what they're
Mhm.
going through. But when
Mhm.
you do encounter them and see them again, make sure that your reaction is just like we picking right up on where we left off.
You, yeah, I wanted to talk to you more about this. What's now? You in Berlin, and
Oh, now is my label Musical Directions, and I have a four-part series album, Naked series, and Naked in respect of showing you my vulnerabilities. Excuse me, I open up my heart to you, blah blah blah, in that
Mm-hmm.
scenario.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's a
No blah
part
blah.
one and
No blah blahs allowed. Come on now. Preach it. Come
okay.
on now. No blah blahs allowed. Let's
uh,
go. Let's get
uh,
real.
yeah. But in the reflection of the vulnerabilities, let's leave it at that area. But it's a collaboration with different artists, um from different genres, from house to techno, and artists from around the globe, a lot of people based here, some in America.
Mm-hmm.
And constantly when I'm traveling, I'm meeting different artists, and the plan is to start developing artists and releasing projects off the label individually with different artists, new, and some of the artists that are already there that have did tracks and helped me on the previous releases. It's in the pipeline to work with them individually as well. But I just want to get past the four-part series first. And that's a collection of different artists, like I said, from different angles. And if you get a chance, maybe check out where I'm coming from that angle. But yeah, I hope to really push and develop this label and get it on um, uh, a global platform, visible to people globally around the world. And it's loads of plans that I have there. That's just the surface of, conversations, talks about what I want to do there, and until I have things set in stone, I'm not going into full details, but there's lots of big plans there
Well, I
for
believe. I
everybody
mean.
involved. I
I
think I'm
mean this.
creating a beautiful family with everybody that's there now, this on the roster of the label.
Is this your first label imprint?
Yes, it's my first one, and it actually started based there in London, um, with a beautiful friend, Jackie Nottingham. She helped me develop and start it off. And me and her are constantly still in touch. She was my manager for a long time. And it's beautiful again. Like if I don't speak to her for 6 months, when we see each other, it's just like yesterday. And we have loads of beautiful memories and stuff, where we toured and traveled together in Paris and stuff. Even there around David Guetta and stuff. I used to do parties and stuff there in Paris and do Radio Nova and stuff. In his early, I think I probably did his first track on a major label with Sony and stuff. So
Mm-hmm.
but even before that, I was doing Bandouche, La Palace, Radio Nova, so I have a, beautiful history of journey with different artists and people, that I can go down the line of different people, that have been
Can
inspirational, and, hopefully we all inspired each other along this journey.
can we talk
But the
about
label started there in London, and we
label?
reactivated it
That's
back
all.
here
Yeah.
in 2015. I reactivated it back here in 2015, here in Berlin, and this is where the first Naked Parts Series One. If you go down the list of different artists on there, Jerome Sidram, Eric
Sid-
DeClark,
There we go.
Mood
That's what I want to hear.
Conspiracy. It's a lot of
That's
different
what I want to
people
hear.
there. If you go down to Roberto Faso, Jamie Anderson, it's loads of different artists. But I just went around the city and met different artists, and I
Key
wanted it to
Alexa.
be a reflection of different cultures there on that first imprint. And that was the blueprint for the next part two, and the coming one, part three and four, is
Mm-hmm.
to it to be a variety of different producers from different angles, and they do their musicality point of view, and then I'm writing the lyrics and singing the songs on their musical composition. And then I said after that four-part series is over is when I'll get to individually going down the roster, and a lot of the new individuals that I have lined up that I'm meeting, and starting to do individual
Mm-hmm.
EPs and album projects on a lot of the artists there. So that's one of the plans there, but it's several different angles off the label that slowly I'll present to the public as things evolve to plan that I the plan that I have laid out, and hopefully I'll see it orchestrated
And
from all
how about
different
the support?
angles.
How,
So
how about the support? Are you getting really good support, positive result, positive support, and
I'm
yeah.
getting positive reactions, but it's a struggle because for the longest it's been me on my own, kind of pushing and doing things, and slowly trying to let different individuals in and certain things. Again, you're a little fearful and you don't want to say too much because I don't. Now I think I'm building a nice solid team of individuals, within the label structure. I'm for presenting some really things off of the label
And
in print
are
soon.
you learning a lot about label management now? Are you
Yes,
so?
I'm not giving too much away there, but yes, it's a lot planned. I'm looking for becoming
Yeah.
reality.
Well,
Let's
I
just say.
think it's important for you to address. I think it's really, really important for you to address. Not many legends like yourself over this period of time can.
Hello.
Hello, hello. Um, I I don't know how many um legends at
I don't
your
hear.
status. You can't hear me. Okay.
No,
I don't know
it's
how
not.
many at your status can actually say that starting a label, still DJing, um, at this level and doing vocals at the same time. Now you're at this place where you're juggling multiple businesses for the creative art that over the years. Now we're in 2025. Have you ever thought about applying AI?
I see it there, and I have a AI program on Voice Swap where I had to send the AI unit I don't know hours worth of takes of different angles of me singing, talking, and everything, and it was funny to have to do this, but it still it can't duplicate the essence of the total character
That's it.
of how I would convey myself vocally, but it's interesting, but I think it's a ways to go from the performance angle of things. I think a lot of people are using it for business structure and knowledge wise in that area. I think it's good. I haven't really dwelled in it um that quickly and easily. And this is something that Kate can tell you. He pushed me to try to get on with the internet and a lot of these things. He's inspirational for that, pushing me to do that because I'm one of them old time thinkers. I don't know. I don't trust it. It's like I'm really skeptical about things, so it takes me a
Mm,
little while to trust. But
mhm,
just with that one unit, I've seen people use the voice swap thing, and I've heard some of the productions where they use my voice to create their track, and it's not the same. But I've done like vocal packages for Loop Masters and Loop Cloud where you can actually take my voice, and I've did different angles of speaking in voice and singing where people can actually use my real and natural voice to make and create their own track. So I think that's a little more inspiring for me at the moment than AI actually duplicating my
mhm,
voice or trying to
mhm, mhm,
duplicate my character to
mhm,
present to people.
mhm,
Those kind of packages are more relevant and more realistic than the AI scenario from the entertainment sector. But again, maybe using it for a business format to help you create a structure your business or things that might inspire you life wise. Yeah, I guess it's good, but I don't need life, and I naturally know I can walk into a song and I can make a track in 5 or 10 minutes. Either something works or it don't work for me. So it's like It's nothing. I don't need AI unit to help me write a song or think
Right.
of an idea. It's instinctively, naturally
K
inside
Alexi
of me.
says it's so good. He said in the chat room. I have a chat question from. I'm looking in the chat form on YouTube now, and my friend Jack Master
Mm-hmm.
Rob here in Germany. He's a vinyl enthusiast. He loves vinyl. He asked, "What happened to all your record collection while you were moving from here to there?"
I gave them away, or either some about maybe 5 or 6 thousand went to disc dogs, and then the rest I just gave away. Oh God, my moving scenario, especially out of England, was a nightmare, and we won't go into that. But it was a nightmare. But like I
Mm,
say, at one point I just put things out on the street and gave them away to people. Just disappointed and disheartened in a system and people that you know you felt were friends.
okay.
It's often, in the midst of trouble, that's when you really find out who's got your back.
Oh
And
wow.
so we could just leave it there. But it's like um me giving things away, you can take away everything I got, but you can't take away my desire and love to give back to life.
Mhm,
So that's
mhm.
gonna always be there, so
Rob
this is
said,
all
"Oh my
material.
God." I also love my records too, and in order for me to give any of those things away, they have to be handed away
Uh-huh.
and to the right parents, to the right people. Moving forward is great, but I mean, okay, you have your
Yeah, but if
voice.
you if you're thrown into a negative scenario where your back is up against the wall,
Okay, that's true.
and it's sink
Yeah,
or
yeah.
swim, you got to
Okay,
make a choice.
okay, okay. And
So it's a
do you?
difference. So.
Yeah, but you got to be honest. Is that painful? Was it painful?
Oh yeah, very painful. But so you feel the pain, then you brush it off, and you got to have higher aspirations and viewpoint about what you want to give back to this life, and what you want to leave behind for humanity. And I can't let a negative scenario stop me from creating and giving while I'm alive and capable of giving. And I said I'm like a machine. I could go into a studio and create. It's no, like, it's not like it's like a natural instinctive part of me,
Hmm.
now, in
Hmm.
which I'm grateful. And
Hmm.
some people, they have to go over and over something. No, for me, either it works or it don't work. But I know I can sit in a studio and instantly create, and I don't have to listen to nothing nobody else has done. I don't have to put on a record or nothing. I could jump on a drum machine and instantly start tapping on beats and stuff. I can get on a keyboard and naturally by ear, if I sit there and play around just for a bit, I'm gonna come up with some kind of melody, just
Hmm.
naturally,
Hmm.
instinctively.
Hmm. Is
And
that
so that's where I feel blessed. So you taking some of material away from me, that doesn't matter because I still got this embedded in my soul that I can still give back.
what is that? Your
You can
voice
take,
is.
but you can't stop the fountain from
Mm,
flowing. The
you can
fountain is
you
the
can
fountain of me, and the fountain of my life is constantly pouring, and you can't stop that from moving.
can you say that
Ain't
again in
nothing
one
said that's drying up no time soon.
can you say that again?
And
Can you say
I
that
might
again in
not
one
remember
sentence?
everything. You might have to rewind back and catch that, because
Can,
some things the spirits hit me and that's it.
can you
Like
say that
even
again?
creating, I can go in the studio and I can do a one take, and it's like, and I've been in the studio often with Jamie Anderson, and then we sat in there and I was like, put on the track we got to work on today. I was like, hook the mic up, I got it, and then bam, I just spit it off in one take, and he's like, and that's it. And it's also, that's where you got to work with people that know you, and you got to catch the moment.
Okay. Can you can you repeat that short phrase in one sentence one more time so we can catch that?
Probably not, because I ain't gonna remember exactly what I
I
said,
was
but
about to
it's
say
there in the
I needed that
recording.
for a sound bite for a short.
But no,
But
I ain't gonna
I'll catch
remember
it.
exactly what I said. Sometimes people be saying that, "Oh, say it again just like that." No, you gotta catch the spirit hit you there. Bam, say it, goddamn it, get it out. And then okay,
So it's
thank you.
spontaneous. I have in the chat.
So I'm reacting to the spirit, but it's something there. It's there in the conversation.
I have in the chat a gentleman, Mr. SJK. He asks, he sent a demo
Mhm.
on your
It's
SoundCloud.
going in
So
and out.
is is this is this label you are looking for? What are you looking for when it comes to new talent for your label?
I'm
What should they
grateful
know?
that you're enjoying. Uh, that it's a blessing for us to be together, family. And I said I'm grateful that I can give. It's a desire, and it feels good and happy to want to give, and share.
Mhm. I guess what I
Emotions and feelings, and then listen and talk to others and receive emotions and feelings from them. Again, a lot of what I write about is experiences or conversations, or it might be something that I encountered that happened in my life. It could be an encounter that happened in someone else's life. I was at one time I was at an after party, and I was just sitting there by myself, and these girls came over and they said, "You look interesting." And I was like, "Oh, well, thank you." And so they sat down and start talking to me, and then they went on about one of them. She had just broke up with her boyfriend, and they just went into the story about him and the situation. And I was like, "Don't never let nobody put you down." And from just from you telling me this story, you just said, "You know what? I'm going back home and I'm gonna write a song for you." And I went back home and I wrote this song. I happened to be in the studio the coming day anyway, with this artist. So they put on the melody, and I sung it over. Sung the words that I had written for her over that melody, and then I went back home and played it to her. And she's like, "I can't believe you actually did that." I was like, "Well, this is like what it's about. Us, being inspired from each other. The song never came out, but I still had the song somewhere. So maybe one day." Um, I could redo it or something, because I'm not in touch with the artist anymore that did the instrumental composition, but I could redo the words over a new track. But that's an experience where you're concerned about people, and you're not just doing it for yourself. You're really concerned about how what you give back to life um, reflects or reacts to others. And if it helps them or helps you in any certain way,
Mhm.
throughout your journey. I think that's important.
Excuse me for a second. Now, let me ask this again because this is very important. Because I have people. I'm in the chat room giving shout out, and I think it's very important that we address a few questions they have um, about the label. Um,
Yeah.
are you accepting demos, and where do they send the demos to?
Yes, I am. They can send it to this.is.robert.owens@gmail.com.
Okay, one more time.
This.is.robert.owens@gmail.com.
Okay, so that's one, and two is a friend of mine told me to tell you that the way you the way you sing your
I can
songs
hear.
is the way you talk. It's so nice to listen to you.
Uh,
Big shout outs and love to Robert Owens, Jack Master Rob,
uh, thank you so much, family. I'm grateful.
and K Alexi
Very
Shelby.
grateful.
K Alexi Shelby says his real voice is good, good. It's
Thank you,
good, good.
family.
And he says a class act, and all you talk about is facts.
Thank you so much. I'm grateful. I'm grateful.
Now let's move on. Let's talk a
Mhm.
little bit more about your faith. You've said you believe in God and He has a plan. How does that faith
Mhm.
guide your choices?
I said, I believe in a higher source, a higher something up there. I said people have given it names, but also you have to be aware that all of this that's been created has been created by a human being just like me or you. So this is where you have to read between the lines, and you have to tap into the source of yourself and listen. for messages from higher sources,
Listen, listen.
and you have to research. A lot of people don't research; they just take things for fact. I think a lot. I went and looked up lectures and different people about ideology and stuff. I went all the way back to the Moors and back to the research history of where all of this stuff has come from. And a lot of people don't do that. They just take word for bond. This is how it is, and this is the way it should be. Once
Hmm.
you really research and you look back on the humanity and history, you start
Hmm.
looking at things from a bigger perspective.
Mm.
And I would say that's what a lot of people should do. Don't just take things because grandma and mama said do it and go there and and follow it. You got to research and understand yourself and see what aligns with self and where you want to go and what you want to give back to life. And especially within this realm of ideology and stuff, because everybody got somebody they believe in, and this person is better than that person, and all of that stuff. And I ain't about that. I'm about you tapping into you and you understanding you and giving you back to life and you starting to think. The best thing you can do is create and give you back to life. And often people are not thinking from that angle. They thinking about followers. I'm more believing in seeing people created that are going to be leaders. I want leaders to come out of my camp, not followers.
Leaders, not followers. Okay, I mean,
Yeah.
okay, that's understood because I have to ask that because a lot of what you sing, it sounds spiritual, very spiritual,
Yeah, and
and
spirituality and ideologies, it's different angles up in there, huh? A lot of people in the church is just full of nonsense. That's two different scenarios.
now I have to ask this because
So
I'm
I said, do some researching. This is what I'm saying. Just do some researching. I can't tell you how to think. I can lead you to the water, but I can't show you how to drink it.
right. That's true. I have to
Get
ask
in there and
this.
take a bathing. Spiritual
You,
bathing. I can't
mhm,
show you how to
mhm.
get in there and put your foot in there.
it's I have to ask this because as we get towards the end of this wonderful conversation with you, I'm going to cherish this for the rest of my life. Even the interruptions we had in the beginning, I will learn to
It's all love. And I
let
said,
it
yeah, I
let
was
it
there
be,
all the
let
way
it be,
praying for you. And
because
we can pray and pray in the figurative viewpoint and stuff. We ain't got to give. We ain't got to go all of that. Uh, this angle of them people telling us to do it that way. I'm just praying, I'm hoping, yeah, my brother gonna sort it out. The whoever up there, they gonna help us sort it out. So
because,
yeah, I'm
because you
praying for
saw me
you in
turning
that
red.
respect.
You saw, yeah, I was like, I want this to be perfect. I want this to be perfect. Clear Lexi turned me on
Yes,
to him.
yes,
I have to make sure I make this perfect. He said everything. Just said, okay, let's see how you handle adversity.
yes. Wishing and being
Oh
optimistic for
God.
you.
So for those that actually
Yeah,
saw the
because things
technical
happen. It's
difficulty,
like I
yeah, yeah.
remember back in the day, man. We yeah, back in the day, we be in clubs and the people, yeah, ain't nobody got a mic. You forgot to bring the mic. I was like, well, just stick the headphone in there. And I'm singing in the headphones, so ain't nothing a problem. It's like you help everybody find a solution. That's what we come in here as a team. It ain't no I'm the one and I'm higher than you and I'm better. Nah, we come in a team. We got to make the team work. I think I just played the Garbage Festival, and the last time I played Garbage Festival, I was doing the VIP area, and they ran out of people to help on the food line. So I'm up there on the food line. Okay, pass another plate down there. Yeah, we need 5 more plates down there. Somebody fill up that chili pot again. It's like I'm down there helping them organize and serve the food. It's like, and then later on I'm going to spin, but it's like you fill in. You become a team player in
Hmm.
situations. That's
Hmm.
where you show who you are and what you about.
Mm.
You
Can
don't come in there like, oh no, I'm too good to do this. No, you're supposed to help.
Another question we have from the chat is when do you have a gig in Munich? Is
Munich.
that in
When
the
is Munich?
works? Munich,
Munich. No, I've worked with
Bavaria,
Compass Records there.
Bavaria.
I have something that just came in at the end of the month in Germany. I can't remember. It's two, and I played there last year. But it's two dates coming up on the 29th and the 30th, I think. And God, maybe if you hit me back later, I'll send you a text with. But two dates just came in for Germany,
Yeah, do that because what I'll do is I'll just
and I think it's
wanna.
like the 28th, 28th and 30th or something. I'm going there.
Okay, yeah,
Somewhere
yeah,
I've been,
you
but I
you have to
think that's
send it
the
a
next dates, and the next other dates is, Italy. I'm doing it, this weekend I go to Italy, and the following weekend I'm in Italy, and then, I'm doing 2 dates at the Jazz Cafe in London coming up. But on Instagram, this is Robert Owens on Instagram, if you remember that. Just go there, and I post a lot of the dates that's coming up there right on the Instagram page.
perfect answer. Okay, perfect
Yeah,
answer.
and
So
music on in yeah, and on Instagram, Musical Directions has a page there. You can also check that if you, but mainly I put a lot of dates up there on the Instagram page,
oh,
so you
okay,
can always see
music
what's
direction.
going on there.
So his Instagram page,
Or
everyone, that if you want to learn more, because he's very active on social media. So and has been very responsible. And again, from the group, from the chat, again, I love playing with. I love playing with my big bro. That's from K Alexi.
yeah,
And
we've had some beautiful dates together.
yeah, look, I mean, it would be a wonderful thing to have you guys here. Come and
Yeah,
get out here to Munich
and be
because
wonderful to come to Chicago, America.
hmm
Tell America, ask America what's up, why they ain't booking me?
yeah, oh, you hear that? You
This
hear
has
that,
been
K Alexi?
a
What's up?
long running question.
Is
Why the Americans ain't booking me when I'm one of the ones that was there in the beginning with everybody else?
maybe they feel like you abandoned them when you left and went and found looking for a path, a journey of your
Uh,
choosing, and it's been such a long time.
Book somebody from somebody
Yeah, yeah,
pay them a lot of money, but they for a brother actually was a part of the scene and come up with they'll
that's a
go
good
and book
story.
a total stranger and pay them a fortune.
You know what?
So now how can you equate those
Mm. You know what? That's a good point of view. What do you
mhm,
think on the
things
real
that
tip?
make you go, hmm?
hmm On the real tip, what do you think could
Huh?
be done better for such situations like this? What would you
You,
like to see happen on situations like this when it comes to you being a Native American in Europe and the bookings are less? Is that something you need to do more, or is
I
there
didn't hear
something
what
we're
you're
missing
saying.
here? Hmm? Is there something that we're missing? Is there
Um, your
oh,
mic going in and out. I
is there
can't hear you.
something that we're missing that you are not getting the proper bookings that you should be getting in America? Is there something that needs to be done, or
I don't know. The thing is, it's like, and I worked so much in Europe to like, I wish I could come there, but and I think that's a missing link. But God, they keep me busy here in Europe. God, I'm playing a lot. Even you think here in Berlin, I have two residencies. I have a residency at the Kit Kat Club with Electric Mondays. I have a residency at Sisyphos Club, and most of these clubs. But for a while, I played every club here from Berkheim, all of them. But they slowed down because for a while they've said I was playing too much, and so they stretch it out now. Even with the big clubs, where I might play only every 2 or 3 months at those at my resident
okay,
nights, just so I'm not there too much, or either if it's like a situation where like some out of town artist didn't make it, they might randomly call me to see if I'm in town and if I could come fill in. But and then off and on, I do other maybe specialist little occasions and stuff here. Like I have a boat party date coming up at Sage Beach here in Berlin on the 20th of August that just came in. So I'm saying like randomly things just pop in too, so like that just popped in, and the 2 days coming up at the end of the month in another part of Germany just popped it up. So they keep me busy here, and I go through an agency, outermostagency.com. You can go look them up too. I think they have a branch in Chicago, and they have a few branches in different parts of Europe. But they may come in with a certain date, but dates abroad, they've asked me to send those dates through them so they can secure and make sure that it's followed to the books, because it's got to be where, it follows a definite itinerary where they know that I'm being picked up and collected at the airport. It's definitely going to be hotels, drivers, etc. It has to be professionally done going abroad, but throughout Europe, it's done this, under these circumstances. So anything outside of that, if they feel that it's not going to be up to that level, they won't send me, and especially a place far away like America, Australia, any of these places. These dates are up with, under a structure, that they know they tried and tested, and it's a reason why some things, because I'm sure they've put in offers over there in America, and some things have come through. Like I played the Smart Bar. I did a little tour once where I did the House of Yes Smart Bar, Incognito in LA. I did a few, I can't remember the name of everything. I went to Montreal and did some dates, Toronto. And again, it was under set itineraries, and everybody followed the itinerary to the letter and stuff. So these are the other thing is that things have to be done professionally and to the books. And I feel fulfill my end of the bargain, and you fulfill your end of the bargain, and things happen. And it's like even when I plan, organize a scenario for dates, for recording dates and things, I, we put in the offer of what we want to happen, and we put in a specific date and the way it should happen, and it happens. It's no beating around the bush or nobody messing you around. And, so if things don't fall under these circumstances, things don't happen. But if people follow things according to structure and the plan, everything always
Okay.
happens. Anything that I've achieved so far and that's
Okay.
happening now is happening because things fall under those
Okay.
structures.
Listen, it's been a great conversation. I got a few more questions in, and we're gonna call it a day. And I want to know, when they write the history of house, what do you want Robert Owens chapter to say?
That he loved, received, felt, and gave love.
Nice.
That's all I
Hmm.
can do.
And you've been
And remember my
smile.
smile.
Hmm. Yeah. I'm definitely gonna remember the smile, because I'm definitely gonna remember that smile. That's after the day.
Remember I
I wanted this
smile.
so bad. I wanted this. And now another one. You've been called the voice of house music, and if God could sing, he would sound like Robert Owens. Just on some of the magazines, I think it was Mix Mag.
And I'll be saying, "Don't y'all be saying that y'all gonna get me struck down
They
by
said this
lightning
on
out
Mix
here or
Mag.
something." I'm looking up
And
here.
how do you carry those
Being
words?
struck down by lightning. Y'all messing around with God like that.
How do you carry those words without letting them
I'm
carry
just
you away?
grateful. No, nothing carries me away. I'm very humble, and that's it. I feel blessed. Blessed to still be doing it. It's like so many artists, they just lived on in our hearts. They didn't have a chance to, complete their journey or tell their story fully. They were taken away from us. And, luckily some of those artists live on in our hearts, and the way we give it, back to humanity too. So that's also a blessing. So I say, just count your blessings. I even did a song with Larry Heard called Counting Blessings, and it's about that. It's like being able to breathe and see. to wake up each morning, keep counting and being grateful that you're here and stay inspired to want to give. And I think all of that keeps me humble. So any reaction from the public or thoughts or sentiments that people say and give, it's always just being grateful. And I think that's what keeps me motivated and keeps me moving beyond all of the negative things that can
Hmm.
happen, within this industry. I can always look above it because I got all of those beautiful thoughts from people, and stuff. And I said I'm like a Robin Hood character. It's like I've never felt like inside of it. I've always felt like outside of it, and I've always felt like I've had the public to push me. That pushed me even when I gave up on myself or felt really low. It was the public there lifting me up and
Hmm.
pushing me.
Wow.
So that's something that will always keep me humble and
Do you think that
grateful.
you think
And
do you think that the people really get it when you say when you express yourself this way? Oh, okay. It looks like we've lost them for a minute there, folks. All right. With that said, everyone, I didn't get a chance to thank Mr. Robert Owens, but with that said, I want to thank you so much for being here today. Um, Mr. Robert Owens has been an inspiration for me this time, and I want to again say please subscribe to the Decisive Podcast Series YouTube channel. Follow us on Instagram, follow us on Facebook and SoundCloud, and make sure you please spread the link. I'm trying to hit 500, and if I can do that with your help, that'd be great. It's a lot of work, and again, I really wanted this to be perfect, but again, you have to go with what you get and do the best you can and keep going. So, guaranteed, Roberto will not be giving up on Decisive. That's for sure. And until the next episode, unless I can get Robert Owens back here into the chat, the channel on YouTube. Thank each and every one of you that have chatted and left. Please make sure, again, you share the link and subscribe. It helps so much. Until the next time, have a great day, great night, and talk to you soon. Ciao.
Thank you for spending time with us. Decisive Podcast Series live by Roberto Ingram, co-hosted by Zoe Mazah.
what's going on here?
He's back.
Hello. Are you
He,
back there? Hello? Can you hear
yes,
me?
yes, I can hear you.
Okay.
Okay, I can hear you. Can you hear
Okay,
me?
yeah, I'm on it. Yeah, I'm shifting gears here. I'm on this wooden log here thing.
Okay. What I want to
It's
do is
shifting.
I would like to I would like to close out properly. So let's this is going to be I'll go back in and we'll close it out. Hey.
Thank you so
we're
much.
we're back again.
Well, thank you
Mr.
so much for having me here. I'm very grateful.
Well, I'm appreciating. I'm sorry that we have these technical difficulties at the moment, and it happens. But I'll be able to hopefully make this presentable for the people because it means so much to me. And I hope you had a lot
Wonderful.
to say today. That's very valuable, and I'm looking forward to working with you and doing a remix for the track. Where are you at? Where
Yes,
are you?
thank you so
I
much.
have
I'm
yeah, I have
grateful.
something hot.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to hearing it.
I have
Yeah.
something hot
And
for
thank you
you.
and all. Thank you. I'm looking forward to hearing it. And thank you and all your listeners, everybody that's been online. I'm very grateful. And I'm sending all of you lots of love, family.
Okay. With that said, everybody, thanks again, and we will talk